Hello, good morning. I want to do a little check-in as I make my morning coffee. It is currently 9:41 a.m. It is Monday, February 2nd, so happy February, happy second month of the year. Let's reflect and make some coffee. So, excuse me, Panda. Last week I felt like was a really nice, productive week. Not that I want to harp on productivity, because I feel like you can keep yourself busy and call yourself productive. Actually, I'm just speaking for myself. I can often feel busy and feel like I'm being productive and not necessarily be moving toward the things that I want to be accomplishing, which is what this series is all about. So last week for me, though, I did feel was like a really good week. I didn't film, I did a couple shorts, but I didn't film anything for this in between series last week, mostly because I was really focused on applying for the first grant, a research development grant for a documentary that my sister and I are doing on clearing the title on my family's heirs property. If you don't know, heirs property is what it's called when there basically is no succession planning, no estate planning, when somebody passes for that property. And so then it just gets passed down to heirs. And if you have more than one child, they have children, they have spouses, etc., it gets split up amongst those heirs. And the more you go generationally, the more people pass, the more children people have, it just gets very messy very quickly. And heirs property is actually the cause of about 90%. I'll put something up here that's the actual percentage of Black land loss in the American South since like the early 20th century or something like that. And as you can imagine, happy Black History Month. As you can imagine, due to the fact that Black people, especially in the South, could not have lawyers or get estate planning and do things like that, that is often how property was passed down, because there was no estate planning. And so you have all these heirs properties, farms, development companies, they can infringe upon them. Most people don't even know they have it. And therefore they're not paying taxes on the land. And so the land just goes to the county and then gets auctioned off, ensue land loss. So my family has property about over 40 acres in North Carolina. And my parents actually do pay taxes, and they have been paying taxes. This is actually the land where my mom was born and lived for like the first 12 years of her life. And they kind of started this process of buying out heirs and trying to get a clear title over 20 years ago. In 2020, they gave me this project. I didn't know what heirs property was at the time. So it's been a process. As you can see, it's 2026, but we've made some progress, and I'm excited to document that. I feel like there are several heirs property documentaries out there providing the education on the subject and all of that. And I think it'd be really interesting to, one, document this for posterity, for me mostly. But if it can be some type of educational tool of seeing somebody kind of do it from having the heirs property, going through the process of getting the clear title, and then everything that comes after, it can also potentially be a roadmap. So me and my sister are working on that documentary, and we applied for our first grant last week. So that was my main focus last week. And as I'm looking to build consistency and not churning out work, I don't know, this growth at all costs kind of mindset. I mean, I work in tech, and I have for the last 6 years now. So growth at all costs, all of that stuff, I get it. It's not the end all be all for me. So I'm not trying to work myself in that way, because it has never been sustainable. And what we're doing this year is we're in order to reach the, follow the dream, live the dream, be the dream, it has to be sustainable. I don't want to burn out doing things that I enjoy doing and pursuing the ideas that I have that are coming to me because they're fun and they're interesting and they bring something out of me, and ruining that by this, I don't know, hustle, 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 burnout, hustle, 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 burnout kind of rhythm. It never sustained me for my own creative practice. So all that to say, didn't film any of this last week, so that's why I'm checking in right now. But did do that, and also got the couple Illustrator samples back as well. I'm gonna grind these coffee beans, so it's gonna be loud. I'm not gonna talk. Oh my gosh, usually I put I'm too busy talking, not enough paying attention. That's okay. Usually I just grind it directly into the portafilter. That's why I was like, okay. But it's still gonna be loud, so we're gonna just do that. All right, not too messy, not too messy. So yeah, last week was really working on that first grant, and also a lot of for documentaries, they do have, like, basically, if you went to college, there was something called the Common App, which was basically like all the colleges use a standard application, and they might have intended to have, at least back when I was applying for college, like their own special questions, but the vast majority of the application was the same. So you wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel every time. And there is a Common App essentially for documentaries. And so my thought process with that was just, the first one is going to be the hardest one. It's going to be the one where we're gathering all the things we need. I'm looking for my stamp. Here it is. We're looking for all the things we need, all of that. Let's just do the first one. And then from there, of course, we're going to be tweaking and figuring out other applications and what they need and stuff. But the vast majority should be kind of done now that we've done this first one. So my thought process was like, let's focus, let's hunker down. Also, that application was due on the 30th, so last week. So that was the main thing of my week. We finished it, we turned it in. We should find out if everything was qualified and working properly, I think sooner rather than later. And then if that is the case, we actually find out the details in the next 8 to 10 weeks. And so next steps there, we are planning to go to North Carolina and doing some filming with my mom and my aunts on the land at some point next week. And kind of other than the rigmarole of actually getting the clear title, I think next steps for me there are to just continue to find some additional grant opportunities that we can focus on, churn those out to really just affirm this project. Because it's like, I'm going to do it regardless, but being able to get a grant obviously helps financially. But it also is just really reaffirming that people see that this is a story worth telling and worth funding. So that's where I'm at with that. Other than that, like I was saying, before I started grinding my coffee beans, I got the 2 samples back. I had submitted an illustrator brief to 2 illustrators on Fiverr for my children's book. Got back the illustration samples, and I think I know which one I'm going to go with. I like them both, but there was one where it was like, it kind of like fit. I'm also been trying to let go of my envisioning of it, because neither of them fit exactly what I saw in my mind. And I think that that's okay, because an illustrator is an artist in their own right. And I don't know, I'm just open to that. And so it was really interesting and cool to see their perspective on what I wrote for the samples. But there is one that I felt like kind of touched a little bit more on the vibe that I want. And so goal this week is to just lock that in, say yes to that, and keep it moving in addition to filming this. Oh, and let's grind. I already ground. I'm not, got to get used to the talking and filming and looking at the camera and also doing what I'm doing at the same time. All right, let's get some coffee going. While that's going, I'm gonna get some milk. Let's see, it dropped at 7 seconds. I think that's good. All right, we got 36 at 29 seconds. All right then, good sign, good sign. See, I think that I've been getting consistent. Again, I'm still like, I need to, practice more on like the taste. Again, I didn't really do that practice session that I want to do where I was just going to brew espresso and taste it, but it's okay. I think it seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. She seems to be getting it. And let's grind this. I'd be missing steps. I didn't even do that first before starting to do the milk. It's all right. This is the in-between after all, so she'll get used to talking and working at the same time without missing steps. All right. Where I have been struggling is the microphone. Like, it's either be too much or it don't be enough, but let's see how we do this time. Okay. All right. We got a good microphone. There's a little heart in there. It's a little heart, and then it's like interpretation. Interpretation. Let's see if I can show you. All right, it's not doing what it was. Whatever. Either way, on the coffee, the last thing that I will say as I clean up here. On the coffee front, there is a coffee origin trip in Guatemala, and I had known about it since last year. So rewind a little bit. In 2023, around my birthday then, which is March 4th, end of February, I was there for about a week. Did a volcano, all that jazz. But De La Gente is where I did a coffee tour, who I did a coffee tour with while I was there. And De La Gente, it is a group of, it means for the people, but it's a group of different family-run coffee co-ops, so farms and producers. And ever since I did that coffee tour where I got to go to a particular co-op and I got to see how they farm the coffee, how they process the coffee, all of that. We got to eat coffee with them, have lunch. It was really, really lovely. And really just cool to see that whole process. And so ever since then, I started getting their monthly subscription. And because of that, I'm on their email list. So I saw that they were doing a coffee origin trip. So it's 6 days, 7 days, 6 nights. In Guatemala, you're visiting 3 different of the co-ops. You get to stay with the host family. You get to help produce the coffee, kind of just learn about their whole process and everything like that. And I thought that would be a really good opportunity because I, as you know, want to open up my mobile coffee shop this year. And one of the things that I want to do for experience is I've been making a self-curriculum for myself. So I've done a few local coffee classes. I did a latte art class. I did a seed to cup class, kind of learning about the whole coffee process from the seed to the cup, the different processing styles, the different ways you make coffee and brew coffee, etc. Recently did a cupping class, which is more about refining the taste and learning about the cupping process in general. So I've been doing those local classes, but I really want to get experience from every facet of the process. And so at some point I would love to intern, work at a coffee shop. We'll figure out how we're going to do that with a full-time job and everything. But that's also because I want to know what it's like to run a coffee shop, and because that's a whole different thing than, homebrew, obviously. But I also want to be on a farm and really be producing the coffee and all of that too. So this is basically my curriculum is so that I get to touch and experience every aspect of the coffee process, literally from the seed till it gets into our cup. And so this was a great opportunity to do that. And I finally did it. I booked it last week, booked my flight last week. And so that'll be the last week of this month. I'll be in Guatemala doing that. I believe everybody in the cohort, or either the person who's organizing it said coffee producers or clients of theirs. So I'm also really excited to just network with people in the coffee business as I seek to have my own. So last week was a really nice week. It felt really productive, but also very calm. Like, I got off work, I did a little bit of the grant each day, just at a good pace of pushing things forward in a significant way without feeling like I need to be in this grind mindset that has never been sustainable for me. So thanks for making coffee with me as I talked about my last week. And I will catch you in a few.